Welcome to the Creative Mike podcast. My name is Michael Molusco. Thank you guys so much for joining. Today we're going to talk about my first 30 days, the struggles, the hurdles, and the outcome. I want to start off by saying the way I started this is just by strictly watching YouTube videos and taking a lot of notes and going over all the scripts, educating myself and studying every single thing I can think of. Because as I always mentioned before, any business you're in sales and you're marketing, and what you're selling is just a byproduct of that. My first 30 days was very interesting because I was very nervous. Even though I've been doing sales for a long time in the mortgage industry, I was kind of nervous to pick up the phone because I was calling agents and there was so many nuances. It was like this mental block that I was having, mindset issues, of course. But here's what I did though. Here's what you guys can essentially do as well. I just chose one path. So I chose to focus on direct to agent and creative financing. So the reason I chose creative financing was because of Pace Morby and the way he explained it and the way he teaches people. For some reason, I don't know what it was about this guy. I just resonated with him and his message. I went ahead and signed up for a system called batchleads.io. By the way, I'm not an affiliate. I'm not going to have any affiliate links here. I just use them for my company. I've been using them since I started wholesaling. And so what BatchLeads was able to provide for me was a filtered down list of what I was going after. I was going after individuals with little to no equity in different counties. For this specific county, for my very first deal, I chose to call Maricopa, Arizona. And the reason why, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Arizona is basically the mecca of wholesaling. All the big shots, all the people that you want to know mostly live in Arizona and are putting up major numbers on the board. As I remember my very first day, I went ahead, I filtered Maricopa, Arizona, single family, condo, townhouse, equity 10% or under, home ownership 3 years or less. And then also one of my filters was under $600,000 value on the property because that's where you're going to get the most traction. And I also did on market for more than 30 days. And so I started calling these agents and I started getting no's. And I started pitching these deals and pitching these offers. And I've just been getting a lot of no's. But I remember one of the people that I really look up to as a mentor as well is Myron. He has this game that he plays. And this game is, I want you to get to 10 no's. And the minute you get to a yes, I want you to start over. So I kind of reverse engineered my mind and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go after these no's because I know after I get a certain amount of no's, somebody might say maybe or somebody might say yes. And so after picking up the phone and pitching these agents, one agent said, you know what? It's not a bad idea. Can you send me over this in writing? I got taken back. I was like, oh my God, somebody said yes, this is my first deal. And I got really excited. I went on my computer. I had my template ready and I put together an LOI, which is a letter of interest. And I shot it over to this agent in Arizona. After a few follow-ups, because remember, the money is in the follow-up. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind. Don't assume you're going to close on the first sale. It probably takes me at least like 5 to 7 follow-ups just to get something under contract. I think after about 6 follow-ups, 6 conversations, we ended up getting a contract signed, but that's only the beginning. We got the contract signed. It was on terms. We were giving the seller a little bit amount of money because he was actually in arrears, so he was behind on his mortgage. We worked out certain terms, got it under contract, and now the next step was to open up escrow, which is a title company. I sent over the contract. I sent over my agreement to them. They open up escrow, but now comes the fun part. I'm brand new in this industry. I just joined Sub2, which is the community that Pace Morby runs, which is a fantastic community. If you guys want to join, give me a call. I'll introduce you to the individual that signed me up. I can't say enough how it's changed my life and my perspective on the way I look at things now. But going back to the story, once I have everything under contract and it's an escrow, now you have to find your buyer, right? So now your initial things are posting on Facebook groups, posting in my community, which is sub 2, the paid group. And also there's a group called Creative Finance with Pace Morby, which is the free group, which has about 100,000 members. Essentially, now you're on the hunt for a buyer. And the funny thing about this deal was probably like the hardest deal you can possibly get for your first one. And the reason I say that is because it was a little bit outside of the Maricopa County area. It's still within, but it's kind of on the outskirts. It's Sun City, Arizona. And it's a 55 plus community. And also the interest rate wasn't that attractive. I think it was like a 5%, but at that time it wasn't really as attractive as the 3 and 4%. And on top of that, it didn't really cash flow either. So you have all these barriers to entry that, could possibly stop buyers from being enticed with this sort of deal. But after talking to a few buyers, somebody reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm interested in your deal. Can I come out and can I come see the property?" And I said, "Yeah, let me get it scheduled for you." So I called the agent. I said, "Hey, one of my capital partners is interested in this deal. He wants to come on and take a look at it, make sure that the house looks exactly like it is in the pictures. There's no big line items to fix, such as the roof, AC, or HVAC." And we got this gentleman out there, and he actually came with his wife. He didn't live too far out. He looked at the property, and I get a call an hour later after he visits the property. He's like, "Hey, you know what? I like this property. I want to buy it. Can you send me over the agreement?" And so what I sent him over is what's called an assignment agreement. So I'm assigning my rights from the contract that I have with the seller to this new buyer for a fee. And this fee can range anywhere between $5, $10, $15, $20,000 or higher. In this case, my first assignment was about a $10,000 assignment. So once I assigned this contract to this buyer, I sent that over to title. And at that point, title took care of everything and took it all the way to closing, which is when we close and finalize the deal. The buyer signs, the seller signs. Now, don't get me wrong, there was hiccups along the way. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. This business is not easy. If you're thinking about getting rich quick, or if you're thinking about, I'm going to make a few phone calls and I'm going to make 10 grand, it's not going to happen. I mean, there probably are some lucky people out there that make a few phone calls, get lucky with the seller, say the right things at the right time. But in the end, if you want to succeed in this business and have longevity in it, you have to be consistent every single day and be open to learning and be a student of the game. Going back to my deal, we ended up closing on the deal. It took about 30 days. Like I said, it was my first deal. I've never done a deal in Arizona. By the way, guys, I'm from Chicago. I didn't tell you this last time. I live in Chicago. I do virtual wholesaling. I have yet to do a deal in the Chicagoland area. So most of my deals are outside in different states. This deal eventually closed. And once it closed, it has to get recorded. And once it gets recorded, that's when you get paid. And so I ended up choosing the wire, and the title company wired the money into my account. It was $10,000. And from that day on, I had my proof of concept. Proof of concept that by picking up the phone, being persistent, being consistent, made me $10,000 by just assigning the rights to a contract that I had with a seller to an end buyer. And from that day on, I figured this is what I want to do. This is my passion. I love real estate. There's endless possibilities on how you can make money in real estate. And even though this was a difficult deal and I had to face adversity in the beginning and in the end as well, you know what, the experience and the joy that you get from your first deal is just amazing. And so if you guys are out there, you need help, I've been there. I can help you. Reach out to me. Let's close deals together. And as always, stay creative, my friends.